between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Edmonton Elks. Now, the last time they met in Week 2, Glenn Suter, Edmonton was coming off a humbling loss at BC Place, and they gave Saskatchewan a game. They actually led it very late before the Riders ultimately won it. Saskatchewan has that weapon, the leading rusher, Jamal Morrow.
Yeah, Jamal Morrow key for Saskatchewan tonight when they win, and they've won 4 times this year. He has been a key in that, including Week 2 against the Edmonton Elks, where he had 126 yards rushing that night. And the key player offensively for the Edmonton Elks tonight is going to be Kenny Lawler. Kenny Lawler, the big off-season signing for Edmonton, 12 for 149 the last time these two teams played.
The head coach is Chris Jones. Big test this year. Not unlike the one he had in his first year as a head coach in Saskatchewan back in 2016. But it's a 2-6 start. One of those losses happened to be against his old club back in Week 2, 26-16. And a guy he worked with for 5 years, both in Edmonton and later with the Roughriders, Craig Dickinson. And they're 4-4. They had the 4-1 start, but all the turmoil of the past month, they've lost 3 straight, but they're coming off the bye, feeling rested and ready to go, and seeing what's going on and those teams ahead of them with Calgary and BC and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers too. An important game for both of these clubs, Glenn.
Yeah, listening to them all week long talk about this game and this matchup, both coaches, all the players saying this feels like a playoff atmosphere. So important for Edmonton to get back into the fight, Saskatchewan to snap that 3-game losing streak.
Mario Alford, he came on in Week 6 and had an explosive return and a missed field goal against the Argos, but he is the main returner now for Saskatchewan. Sergio Castillo will kick it off. The Elks, they won the toss and they have deferred, so Saskatchewan will take the ball to start this one off in the closing game of Week 10 in this Saturday doubleheader, all in Alberta. Whistling it in. And we are underway at Commonwealth Stadium. Heading down to Mario Alford at the 6 for the Riders. Across the 20. Picks up some blocks. Finds a window. Still going, tiptoeing down the sideline. He gets closer to midfield, up around the 50. Good field position for Cody Fajardo and the Roughriders to work with.
Yeah, start number 37 in Cody Fajardo's career. He has done very well against the Edmonton football team. 4-0 as a matter of fact, and 4-3 this year. Missed the one start, but took the bye to get back home, get back with his family, refresh, and get back for a reboot.
Took a week off at Reno, Nevada, then came back, and you're right. He was saying he feels better. Says that knee, that left knee injured here back in Week 2 is feeling a lot better too. Still in a brace. So Fajardo and first down Riders. Handing off to Morrow. The CFL's leading rusher coming into the week and has a carry that will set up 2nd and short as he gets it across midfield as we look at the Saskatchewan offense brought to you by Expedia.
Well, they get Logan Bandy back at center. He's not their starter. That's Dan Clark, who's getting closer by the week, but Bandy was getting better week in and week out when he took over for Dan Clark, and I really believe that Jamal Morrow is the key to success offensively, getting a rhythm to get that balance. It doesn't have to be just running the ball with Morrow. He can catch it out of the backfield too.
At a gain of 8 and a 2nd and 2. Saskatchewan across midfield, right back to 25. Jamal Morrow, who gets it inside the Edmonton 50, and that is good enough for a first down for Saskatchewan.
A former Saskatchewan Roughrider Mac Henry in the middle of that defensive line that is improving. Lots of changes week in and week out in Chris Jones' defense. This is the 4th starting Sam linebacker in Ethan McConzo. He's going to start in that linebacking core. Kona has been the most consistent, and they go back to Scott Hutter at free safety. Deron Carter finished at that position last week.
Right at the 50 of Edmonton, Saskatchewan's first possession. Fajardo steps up. He tries to dump it off to Morrow. And little miscommunication there as it falls incomplete, 2nd down.
You know, I really believe that Morrow is key, because when you look at the 4 wins versus the 4 losses, and you see one thing that's real consistent here is his average. His average almost completely equal. I mean, you're looking at about a half a yard difference there, and yet he's getting less opportunity during the losses. So that's on Jason Moss to keep number 25 involved.
Had 8 carries for 47 yards 2 weeks ago against the Lions, their last game. Under pressure, ball's out. Fajardo does well to just pick it up. And it'll be a 3rd down. But Edmonton was bringing the heat. And the ball came loose. Fajardo gets on it, but they're still closer to midfield there, and looks like a punting situation now for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, you know, the Heat, Rod, with just 3 pass rushers, and that's unusual when you take a look at just the 3 that were on the rush here. Cody Fajardo has got to be a little bit more patient to find that open window because there's so many back in coverage, and the rush gets home with 3.
Jake Serezna in his 3rd game of the season just came back last week off the 6, and he forced that ball loose, but Saskatchewan gets it. They're able to punt it away, but it sails into the end zone, not able to pin the Elks deep. Instead, they'll put a point on the board on that punt by Corey Vedvik, and will allow Taylor Cornelius and the Edmonton Elks some breathing room.
Start number 12 for Taylor Cornelius. He is 2-9 as a starter. This year 1-2, and has not been able to find the answer against Saskatchewan, although in week 2 maybe his best game as a starting quarterback in the CFL. Had a real good connection with Kenny Lawler, his #1 target, and they had Saskatchewan on the ropes that night.
So starting at their 40 now after giving up the single point. Little play fake. Top now to Kenny Lawler. On the move as he gets it up near the 50, close to a 1st down for the Elks. How about that Edmonton offense now, Sid?
Well, I'm looking at the one matchup at that left tackle, and Tony Washington going against Charleston Hughes, who has 135 sacks in his career. And you know, the 8-year veteran in Washington has seen Hughes many, many times. There's the #1 target for Taylor Cornelius,
who keeps it himself, as it was 2nd and just inches, so enough to push it across the 50 and a 1st down for the Elks.
Real close on defense for Saskatchewan to get Pete Robertson back, who still leads the league in sacks. They couldn't. Charleston Hughes is going to be their premier pass rusher off the edge. Still haven't got AC Leonard back. He's still a couple of games away. Larry Dean and Darnell Sankey 1-2 in defensive plays in the league, and both on pace for over 100 tackles each. And there are 8 players coming into this week at 3 interceptions. Nick Marshall's one of them.
On 1st down. Good carry there for Ante Milanovic. Litre he just took the crowd with him there for another 1st down.
Yeah, how about that? Just doing a little road grading there. Try and get those big boys up front. Litre coming around on just a basic off the right side run, little pulling guard coming in there, and David Foucault, and then it's just all Litre with taking the Rider defense for a few yards.
Coming out of Simon Fraser, started his career several seasons with the Calgary Stampeders. This is 1st in Edmonton, and with injuries to James Wilder and Sherman Beatty. Litre gets the carry again. Larry Dean stands him up, and he will not get much that time on that 1st down carry.
Well, I'll tell you, Larry Dean leads the league in tackles, leads the league in defensive plays. I mean, he and Darnell Sankey 1-2, and it starts to sort of remind you of when Adam Bighill and Sullivan Elamimian played together. Remember, we were always talking about their pace and being over 100 tackles. Well, Dean and Sankey are in that category right now.
That is quite a long linebacker combination you've been talking about. Those two. Derek Moncrief, the strong side. 2nd and 7. The Saskatchewan 43. The Elks. Cornelius dumps it off. Ante Milanovic, Litre again. And after contact, tried to get his way closer to a 1st down. Needed to get to the 36. Flags coming out late after the whistle had blown.
Nice job by Litre here for a couple of reasons. One was well before he even got the football in his hands, because Anthony Lanier is going to line up at defensive end.
Play a major foul misconduct. Saskatchewan #3. It's a 15-yard penalty. It makes it a 1st down for Edmonton.
Take a look at the play first, and then we'll show you that penalty and see what they got there. But watch the chip on Lanier here, and then he releases out of the backfield Littre real smart here to help out his right tackle with that chip. So his quarterback has an extra second. Then he gets the second effort to get it up the field. Now let's see what Nick Marshall did to cost his team another 15.
Little shot there on David Foucault after the fact. Flags come out. It gets down to the 22 of Saskatchewan. Here come the Elks. Littre again. What a busy drive he's had. Gets to the sideline, and Marshall gets him close to the first down marker again for the Edmonton Elks.
Well, that first run by Littre, you figure that he's going to do that because he's sort of that big in-between tailback, fullback type of guy. But what you don't expect him to do is jump cut to the outside like he just did. I think it made a surprise the linebacking core for Saskatchewan. Pretty nice run.
Having a good start to this game, to be sure. Second in inches, that run. 33 yards from scrimmage for Littre. Kyle Loxley in, short yardage. Punches it across for another first down. Close to the 10.
Well, this has been an area where the Elks could really use the help. I mentioned Jamal Morrow, but they haven't had James Wilder Jr. for quite some time now. Sherman Batty has also been out of the lineup. That's 1 and 2, and they're not even dressed tonight. So to get some production from their tailback in Littre is huge.
The leading rusher active for the Elks right now is Taylor Cornelius.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is something Chris Jones and company like to see. Getting some yardage from their starting running back right at the 10. And the first down. Quarterback draw, running it near the end zone. No signal.
Edmonton's trying to help the officials with a signal.
They didn't signal touchdown, but the conversion team is coming on now.
Didn't signal it, but it's in, and this is a great call. I mean, it's just a flat-out quarterback draw. A guy who's sort of known just by his size alone as a pocket passer in his 11 starts in the league. Again, a change-up to fool the defense. It freezes him for a second. Cornelius gets there.
Better late than never. Touchdown, Edmonton. Taylor Cornelius. Crowd's a bit quieter, but they're celebrating at the sidelines, and the conversion is good by Castillo. Here he is, Cornelius. Mentioning his running ability. Big payoff there. Break the plane. Sure he did. Touchdown, Elks.
University of Alberta, Mark Cordy right there on Larry Dean, the second level. He gets up on that, and watch how he has the great footwork in the open field to cut off Larry Dean to getting to that quarterback draw. Taylor Cornelius finds the end zone. You got to block up. Sankey was going on a blitz. He was outside and wide, but you got to block up the middle linebacker and Larry Dean. And Mark Cordy did it. Got him.
Taylor Cornelius, the touchdown, and now it's into the hands of Mario Alford again on the short side and taken out by Niles Morgan just across the 30. Jarius Jackson talking things over with Taylor Cornelius, who has given the Elks the lead in this one, 7-1 Edmonton. Think this is a bit of a drought since the last time Edmonton won a home game. You got to go back, Suits, to October of 2019, 1,036 days. They beat the BC Lions then. They haven't won in the stadium since.
And that's why we're seeing in that first drive a little playoff type of pace for the Edmonton Elks. They understand the importance of this game for a lot of reasons. 11
straight, and Saskatchewan Roughriders have factored in on that, including this season back in week 2, winning here 26-16. Looks like a time count violation coming up here.
Saskatchewan number 63. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
Against the Riders, but procedure against the left guard, Logan Furlan.
The Riders have won 6 straight against Edmonton. The last time Edmonton beat Saskatchewan, Michael Riley was named Mike Riley and was playing for the Edmonton football team.
That was 2018. That long ago. Fajardo stepping up on the 1st and 15, and he completes it 2 to Morrow, but a flag does come out. And further to that thought, the coach of Saskatchewan was Chris Jones, and the coach of Edmonton was Jason Moss, now on opposing sidelines.
Well, Chris Jones knows very well Jason Shivers. That's an interesting dynamic going on in this game tonight, because a lot of what Shivers does defensively, he's put his own stamp on it, but a lot of what he does defensively comes from sort of the
illegal contact.
Chris Jones.
Edmonton, number 37. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
The Chris Jones coaching tree.
Shivers joining him in Toronto in 2013 when Jones was defensive coordinator, then bringing him to Edmonton in 14 and 15, and then to Saskatchewan. So yeah, he's with Chris Jones a number of years.
Riders D, number 1 in sacks in the league, number 1 in forced turnovers.
Penalty to Treston Decoux, that moves Saskatchewan up to their 38, and a 1st and 5 here. Jamal Morrow has that, and more up near the 50 before Morrow is taken down, and a gain of 12 for Saskatchewan.
We're used to jump cuts from Jamal Morrow. We're used to jump cuts from him. Now, Litre, maybe not, and he showed us that he can do it, but there's a nice jump cut to bounce outside. Point of attack sealed down pretty nicely by the Elks D line, but Morrow made his own hole.
Coming into the week, the leading rusher, the leader in yardage from scrimmage, all-purpose yardage too, Jamal Morrow. Little pump fake. Fajardo running around now, buying himself some time, and a flag comes out again as he throws it downfield. The intended receiver was Morrow again, and another flag down in the Edmonton secondary.
Yeah, legal contact on the receiver, Edmonton, number 24. It's a 10-yard penalty. It makes it a 1st down for Saskatchewan.
Another legal contact call, this time to Feast Lyon.
Well, that play took a long time to develop, because again, Edmonton went with 3-man pressure, just 3 down linemen getting after Cody. This time, much more patient. Fajardo bounced around, and as a DB, when a play extends that long, you're going to grab somebody.
So that penalty gets him to the Edmonton 50. The play fake, and the first catch of this game for Duke Williams, who was targeted 11 times 2 weeks ago in their last game against the BC Lions.
Yeah, Duke Williams did a lot of sort of self-evaluation throughout the bye week, and the media in Saskatchewan talking about he wanted to concentrate on the next play and not think big picture and is he being used enough and all the other things that can enter your mind. He just thought, I got to get back to next play.
On the 2nd and 3, and Morrow getting his work done early in this game. Another 1st down, and driving that one a gain of 8 down to the 35.
Yeah, clearly Jason Moss, watching this game early on in this one tonight, Jason Moss is thinking the same thing about Jamal Morrow. They got to get him the ball. They've got to get him some touches. 15 to 20 minimum. He's already got 5. Just running, not counting the catches.
And 30 yards on the ground for Morrow now from the 35, 1st and 10. Sweep to Kean Schaefer-Baker.
I'm fucking dead, man.
And we'd wonder too, how much more are they going to get 89 involved in their offense?
Well, Jason Moss is going to change it up here, Rod, because he's, instead of seeing Schaefer-Baker on a fly sweep, how about just playing him as a tailback right beside Cody Fajardo? He's just at that tailback spot. Simple running play off the left side, but this time your running back is the long strider in Schaefer-Baker.
8th play of the drive coming up, just the 4th carry of the season for Schaefer-Baker. Gets another 1st down from the Edmonton 20. Riders on the move. Fajardo's on the move. He takes off that time. Fajardo wants to pick his spots with that brace on his left knee, but he still wants to run. Has a big one there for another 1st down.
Yeah, and he told you guys on the Zoom calls about how his knee feels so much better, and you can see it. I mean, these blind turns, to spin out like that, and he doesn't look like the knee's bothering him at all. Rested up, got the 2 weeks off, went back home, refreshed his mind being around family, but it also gave his knee a chance to heal for 2 weeks, and it looks better.
He did.
Way better.
He emphasized that. You're right. That the knee feels a lot better. Won't get to 100% until the offseason. Handing off Morrill again. Inside the 5, 3-2, down to the 1. Helmet comes off. On that first down play, Morrill gets close.
See where first contact is. Good tailbacks don't go down on first contact. Right at the line of scrimmage. Looked like there was a face mask in there as well. Niles Morgan. That's why Morrow's helmet came flying off.
Major foul misconduct. Edmonton, number 6, will go up half the distance from where the ball went dead. It's going to be first down.
Called on the veteran and former rider, Ed Gainey.
Yeah, I think that was after Morrow was on the ground without a helmet on. And it looked like Gainey. There's Gainey to the right of your screen. So Morrow's helmet gets ripped off there, and he was part of the tackle. But then he got up and did something.
So another penalty. First and goal. Fajardo trying to break the plane and put Saskatchewan back in front potentially. Second down.
Bringing the extra O-lineman. Heavy team. Jamal Campbell comes in.
Second and goal at the Edmonton 1. Fajardo again. And this time he breaks the plane for the Saskatchewan touchdown. The Riders answer right back after Edmonton scored. And Cody Fajardo is the one that gets it done. With a lot of help. That offense from Morrow as well on that drive.
Initial push here. Clearly Fajardo across the plane. Love to see the ball from that angle, but here's the reverse. Half his body across. But the ref was right on the spot, saw the ball hit across the plane.
And Brett Lothar with Corey Vedvik holding the point after, and so once again a 1-point lead for Saskatchewan after an 11-play 77-yard drive in just under 5 minutes time. At the touchdown for the Riders, they now lead at 8-7. Jamal Morrow did a lot of work. He had 3 carries alone for 27 yards on that drive.
Yeah, nice balance. They even mixed it up and put Schaefer Baker in the backfield for Morrow at one point. He got a nice run off the left side. Cody Fajardo finishes the drive. That was his 3rd rush, by the way, for Fajardo. And the last 3 games, all losses. He was 4 total in 2 of those games. Already in the first quarter at 3.
So the Riders kick it off, and Charles Nelson is chased back inside his end zone. Oh! What a special teams play by Gary Johnson coming in and tripping up Nelson, as the Elks will have to start this next possession deep. That was right around the 15. Gary Johnson had been hurt, back in the Rider lineup on teams and doing his job right there. Edmonton football, they're down 1. This is what's happened the last time these two teams met here back in week 2. Second half, Cody Fajardo, McKenna Henry pushing in with Dan Clark, hitting him in the left knee. Fajardo favors that. He finished the game. He's been wearing a brace ever since, but having the bye week, Fajardo says, has really helped.
Some structural damage that I won't heal until the end of the season, until I'm completely off playing football. But what really makes me excited to go out there was this week of practice. I felt more explosive. I felt like I was able to run around and get back to kind of myself again, using my legs. It's been one of my strengths my entire career. I'm definitely excited to see the opportunities given to run the ball and see where I'm at.
Well, when he was healthy against Hamilton, he rushed the ball 10 times for 42 yards in that very first game. Against Ottawa and Toronto in game 1, just 4 carries. Their last game against BC, just 2. So clearly he made the conscious decision with that knee and the knee brace on that he wasn't going to run. He was going to try and go from the pocket. But I've said it many times, one of his superpowers is running the ball. So he wants to get that back, and we've seen clearly the knee looks good.
And Craig Dickinson said, it's not that we don't want him to run the ball. We want him to use his best judgment if he's going to run the football. Andy Milanovic-Litre gained 4 on that first down. Throwing here, Cornelius. And it's incomplete, intended for Darrell Walker. Falling incomplete there, so a 2-and-out for the Elks after Saskatchewan had driven down and taken the lead. And that's one cloud on the horizon for Edmonton. And there is another one, too. Yes, literally. There is a severe thunderstorm watch coming later on this evening. Not exactly sure when, but they've already had to deal with this before. Game you'd recall against Calgary here, where a storm came in the second half. So hoping it holds off in this one here at Commonwealth Stadium.
Trying to look at the flags. It looks like John Ryan will be kicking into it.
Kind of swirling, it seems. Ryan, the veteran, former Rider, playing against his old team. Taken by Alford at the 40 after a punt of 53 yards. He's taken down. Good coverage there by Tanner Green. Jamal Morrow, as you look at the running back receiving leaders. And James Butler did not play in that BC win over Calgary earlier today, but Morrow is leading in a lot of different offensive categories so far.
Well, that's what I mean. You know, he can catch the ball, so it's not just running the ball that you need to get him involved in the offense. And Jason Moss has already shown us a couple of. He caught an out right on the sideline from a wide out position already tonight. Got good hands.
Should be the last play of the first quarter. Fajardo and a 1st and 10 at the Saskatchewan 44. Rolling out, taking off, and not much there. And a late flag too. Boy, the Elks have been hit hard with penalties. Their own worst enemies on defense in that previous drive. Took 3 of them. And a late flag coming out there as Fajardo went out of bounds.
Well, was he out of bounds when he got hit, or just stepping out of bounds at the time? Looked like he relaxed. Tough to see his feet, though, exactly where he was.
It's Matthew Thomas that got him just as he was heading out of bounds. And now they're discussing it.
Let's see if we can see if he was actually out of bounds. This is a different angle, and see Cody Fajardo. Yeah, I don't see a penalty there. I mean, he hit him shoulder to shoulder.
There is no flag on the previous play. The result of the play, 2nd down, and it's the end of the quarter.
So they pick up the flag. No penalty against Matthew Thomas. A decision by the command center that said Fajardo was still in bounds. Thomas hit a bottom line. Saskatchewan ball. 2nd down. Close game again between these two so far through 15. It's the Riders leading the Elks 8-7 in the CFL on TSN. We are through one quarter at Commonwealth Stadium. Saskatchewan leading Edmonton 8-7. As you look at those first quarter numbers, Glenn, what really stands out, the rushing yards for both teams.
Yeah, both teams trying to establish that ground game. Got about 30 yards from Litre for the Elks, and for Morrow and the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he's up almost at 40 yards rushing already in that first quarter. So both teams trying to get, and maybe the weather and the wind has something to do with that, but both teams wanting to establish the line of scrimmage.
And when you look at that touchdown drive by Saskatchewan, good running, but also 3 key penalties by the Elks that helped them move the ball down the field.
Yeah, that's always going to get you in trouble. Nick Marshall knows that. On the Elks' long drive that ended in a touchdown, he aided it with a 15-yard penalty.
Look at that sky. Holding off. Second quarter underway and a second down. Saskatchewan starting it with the 1-point lead. Faking it to Morrow. Rolling out to his right. Throwing now, completing. A flag comes out. And that is Justin McInnes on the receiving end inside the Edmonton 50.
See the chase there? You saw Cody Fajardo get outside.
Contact, Edmonton number 5. The penalties decline. The result of the play is a first down for Saskatchewan.
Again, another indication that Fajardo's knee feels so much better. I mean, he's going to take off and run here, and it looked like whoever was in pursuit was close.
So now at the 48, they declined the penalty, completing another one to Duke Williams. Williams with his second catch. And Fajardo with his 3rd completed pass only in this game so far.
Yeah, it looked like Fajardo this time had to try and find a throwing lane, almost like it was plugged up where he wanted to go, and he didn't have a clear throwing lane, so he kind of hops over to his left, and there's Duke Williams, targeted twice, 2 catches. It's like he's locked in mentally.
Riders on the move again inside the Edmonton 35, back in the hands of Morrow. Good first quarter. Another flag comes out, a couple of them, as he is taken down by Niles Morgan after a couple of yards. Jake Seresna in there as well.
A lot of wind, that ball's coming out funky.
We have an illegal block, hands to the face, against the defense, against Edmonton number 95. That's a 10-yard penalty, and it's a first down.
Costigan getting called on that. On that penalty, you just talked about it, Rod, the penalty-aided drives.
And with that, on that penalty by Costigan, it goes down just inside the 25. 1st and 10. The Edmonton 24. Riders looking to add to their lead now. Fajardo tries to check it down. Had to escape the pocket. Finally gets rid of it. And the pass is low, and McInnes cannot hang on to it.
Yeah, Niles Morgan again is going to sort of spy Cody Fajardo here, but again it's sort of 3-man pressure. Fajardo with time. There's your pressure coming from the D line, and 45 Niles Morgan is going to try and spy him, and if he flips out of there like he does here, Niles is going to come up, try and track him down.
2nd and 10. Fajardo, the pump fake, tries to escape. He can't. He's taken down by McKenna Henry. Sacked by the Elks. And a field goal situation coming up now for Saskatchewan.
Working right over Logan Bandy. Mac Henry gets up, and because the play again is he's trying to be patient because there's not a whole lot of blitz coming from Edmonton. Boy, this win could really affect the kicking game too.
Brett Lother.
Kicking's been a little bit of an adventure this week, I think, in a lot of ways.
It sure has. 22 of 26 in the year, longest 57. This one just inside the 35 for Lother. It was heading left. It is good, though. He just tugs inside that left upright. So 3 more on the board for Lother and the Saskatchewan Roughriders to increase their lead. Henry taking Fajardo down. Elks down 4. 10, and Week 11 will kick off in the CFL on TSN. Friday Night Football, a showdown between the Elks and the Red Blacks. You can tune in from Ottawa, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on TSN. Last year, the Red Blacks beat the Elks both times they met, including a quarterback showdown with Taylor Cornelius, a surprise one, and Caleb Evans making his debut for Ottawa last year in that game. Two teams certainly hungry for wins, to be sure of that. On the carry, Malik Irons, recently acquired, former Hamilton Tiger Cat, on that carry.
I wonder why we don't see more of Ante Milanovic-Litre. I know they're going to give Malik Irons some touches and rotate the two, but you get 30 yards on their touchdown drive was providing balance and putting the Saskatchewan defense off balance.
So Irons does stay in. 4 receivers out to the right. On the 2nd and 6 after that 4-yard carry, and it goes right back to Irons. Big hole and more. Malik Irons on back-to-back carries is taken down at midfield, and a first down for Edmonton. And once again, they're grinding it out so far tonight.
Yeah, going with a different back, but the same philosophy as that touchdown drive. So, you know, again, you're seeing big blocks up front. And the key again for a successful run play is to get to the second level, and if Larry Dean is off the line of scrimmage and gets there late, big gain possible for Edmonton.
Just across midfield now. Elks down 4, faking that handoff, throwing, completing inside the 40. Kenny Lawler down catching that ball. So down right away, but they move the sticks again after a gain of 16 for Lawler.
He saw the reaction from Taylor Cornelius to Lawler. He pointed at him, gave him the thumbs up, and said, "My bad," because that was a throw way behind him, and Lawler makes a great adjustment to go down and get it. He had to slam on the brakes and come back to that one, and Cornelius went, "Nice catch, man. You bailed me out there."
Lawler's been known to do that a time or two, hasn't he? Handing off again. They go back to Malik Irons, so back to the ground. But Kenny Lawler, yeah, we've seen some impressive catches, including a meeting of these two teams. Remember this?
Well, week 2, it was his best game. His best game as an Elk. It was, at the time, 12 receptions. He was targeted 17 times in that game that night. 149 yards and a touchdown. And this one doesn't get much better than that. Yeah.
Great catch, Lawler, back in week 2. And so there they are at the Saskatchewan 35. Oh, what a catch by Lawler.
Come on.
Whoa, we just put the ball on the tee.
Yeah, hold on.
Maybe he knew we were talking about it.
That was a fastball. Whoa. He must have heard us. He said, "Oh, here, let me show you another one." Wow. Yeah.
Just with Derek Moncrief just inches away from knocking that ball.
I think he grabbed it with his right hand too and just secured it there.
Cornelius on the move. Finds an open receiver again. It's Kai Loxley with his first catch of the night. And that one sets up the Elks at 1st and goal inside the 5.
I like Taylor Cornelius on the move. There's that one throw that was slightly behind Kenny Lawler, but I like him on the move here. It really stretches the defensive backfield out to get him out and around the edge, and they start jumping receivers, and someone opens up in behind him. This time it's Loxley.
Nice answer here by the Elks so far as they drive down the field. They have a 1st and goal. 7th play of the drive as they try to retake the lead. Oh, the ball comes out, and the Riders have it. Charleston Hughes was there. Gets up as Tony Washington finally wrestles him down again. But just like that, a nice drive is snuffed out on an exchange. Cornelius, Irons, and the ball hits the turf. And Hughes recovers. Saskatchewan football still with a 4-point lead.
Let's go back to the fumble. It's on Taylor Cornelius because, first of all, he's got to be concise with his decision-making here, but also the ball is too high. You can see that for the running back for Irons, his eyes are down the field. He cannot look down at the ball. He's looking for a hole now. That ball has got to be down here so that if there is some indecision, then he could just grab it out of his hands. But Cornelius is a little high with the ball. The fundamentals just off a fraction of an inch or two, and it's on the turf.
And it's the first turnover of the game, benefiting Saskatchewan. Fajardo. Albert Awachi, the fullback, gets the catch and gets it to shy about the 24-yard line of the Roughriders.
Boy, that's big, to be down inside the 10-yard line. The big answer after the field goal and poised to take the lead and then lose the football. I mean, even if Cody Fajardo just gets a couple of first downs in this drive and flops the field position back, it's a win for the Riders.
Escaping with that 4-point lead at this stage now, halfway through the second quarter. More heat on Fajardo, but he escapes it, rolls out to his left, takes off again. First down up at the 30 for Saskatchewan, and yes, Fajardo wants to run more, and he seems comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I liked what he said to you guys in the Zooms when he talked about, hey, you know, I got to get back to running. I got to get back to what my game is all about. And he brought up a stat. Now, I'm not going to be accurate on the numbers, but I think it was around 25, 26 first downs that he ran for on second down. And then when he was injured, that dropped to just a couple. And, you know, when you consider that many first downs from his legs, part of his game.
5 rushes for 25 yards. This rush, McHenry on Morrow, as a flag does come out. And what would be lost yardage here for the Riders on that running attempt by Jamal Morrow.
And if he can, and we're seeing that he can run, and that the knee looks much better. So if Edmonton,
major foul, face mask, Edmonton number 8. It's a 15-yard penalty.
Wow.
It's going to be first down for Saskatchewan.
Wow.
Deron Carter, flag for the face mask.
Definitely on it. I'm not sure he grabbed it.
Didn't see him actually grab it there. Sask 45 with the penalty. Fajardo to his right. Oh, lunging and not quite Duke Williams.
Just out of the outstretched arms of Duke Williams. But you can see the adjustment he's made mentally, because he got up from that a little. You know, he's going to talk to the opposition. That's part of his game. But you know, we saw for 3 games in a row him just looking completely frustrated and just back to the next play.
But a couple of great seasons here with Edmonton, Duke Williams did to launch his CFL career. Blitz coming. Fajardo escapes it for a while. Still on his feet and finally taken down. Enoch Makonza was the one coming in with the first shot. Finally, he and Jakes Serezna to finish things off.
Well, they were closing quick, and every time you break a tackle, it allows a defender to get closer. And, you know, again, it ends up being a 4-man pass rush and not full blitz, but again, it's causing Cody to get that happy feet, run around the pocket, and then take off. And there were some Edmonton defenders coming downhill at him there.
Setting up a third down for Corey Vedvik, standing at the Rider 35. So they advance it a bit off that turnover, that fumble by the Elks when they were pressing for the go-ahead touchdown. So still a Saskatchewan lead. Under 5 minutes to go until halftime. As I say, Marabere pays attention to the punter, Vedvik, and Edmonton football. Kenny Lawler. Another great catch in this game so far. What else does he have in store? His team trailing right now in the second quarter. We're going to look at Kenny Lawler again.
One more time.
And another.
And another. And one more time to make it. I mean, that was sweet. That is just... Who's got the better hands, Kenny Lawler or Brian Burnham?
Wow. Don't hit me with tough questions like that this early.
Congratulations to the Lions. Big comeback win before our game tonight.
Impressive at McMahon Stadium, BC. Going to 7-1. Cornelius to a receiver. He's got him. It's Lawler. And a big first down as Edmonton is moving right back. 39 yards.
Won the battle, didn't he, Rod? I mean, this is Lawler getting a run at it and basically going down the seam. Taylor Cornelius, you know he's got a live arm now. He can make this throw and put it where he wants to. Milligan was cutting underneath, had a chance at it, and Lawler comes back just a half step and meets the ball at the apex, comes back and makes another great catch with strong hands.
Well, they ran a lot early, but Taylor Cornelius 6 for 7 for 101 so far. Back to the Rider 32, Malik Irons. They got him. Nothing doing for Irons on that play. Taylor Cornelius loves going to work with Kenny Lawler. Here's what he had to say about his star receiver.
Anything you throw at that guy, he's gonna, he's going to come down with it, or it's going to be some sort of pass interference. He's proved that, throughout his career, and obviously in the Montreal game as well. Him drawing over 100-something yards of PI calls is crazy, but at the same time, there's a trust factor with that guy, knowing that he's going to go make a play on the football anytime it's up in the air.
Second down. Pump fake. Buys time. Cornelius. No for Darrell Walker. And that one falls incomplete. Just as a 3-minute warning comes down. Edmonton driving within range of scoring at least. It's an 11-7 Saskatchewan lead late in the first half.
Cody, Cornelius, the Elks offense, and just in case you missed one of the most epic games so far this season, we have highlights of the Lions in the stands. We're going to break it all down. That's what we're going to do.
It took a while to get up here. We started out around 1959.
The initiative in that game led for a lot of it, and BC comes back, improves to 7-1. The Stamps falling to 5-3 in the ever competitive West Division. Great game. Dramatic finish, one of many we've seen in the CFL. This field goal try from Sergio Castillo, and it is good. And we have a 1-point game once again. The most talented cooks return for a shot at redemption on an all-new Master Chef. Back to win Wednesday, 8/9 Mountain, only on CTV. Set your PVR for that. Master Chef, back to win. Speaking of back to win, both of these teams needing to do that. The Riders having lost 3 straight after a 4-1 start, coming off the bye, and the Elks picked up a couple of wins against Eastern opponents, Hamilton and in Montreal, but haven't won yet at home, as we talked about, for a long time, not since 2019. Cody Fajardo, 4 of 7 for 39 yards only in passing, but has been mobile and not afraid to run. Has 6 carries for 29 yards, and the sneak for the touchdown as well. Craig Dickinson saying he's trusting Fajardo's instincts when it comes to him deciding to take off. From the 40 after the field goal by Castillo. Back to Morrow. Had a busy first half. Picks up about 4 yards there for the Riders.
And that's going to be a late penalty again, I believe, on the Elks. I'm not sure if Niles Morgan had a reason to grab the pile and throw, I think it was Bandy, out of there. May have been big Logan Furlan. But 45 grabbed one of the old linemen from the Riders and threw him off the pile.
Major foul misconduct. Edmonton, number 45. It's a 15-yard penalty. It makes it a first down for Saskatchewan.
I'll tell you, all the bright spots for Edmonton, and there have been some on offense especially. A lot of these penalties have happened to Edmonton on defense.
Yeah, and these are controllable. I mean, you know, you're going to see it as it unfolds here, and watch Niles Morgan. He sees the pile. He grabs. It was Furlan, Logan Furlan, and he throws him on the ground. And, you know, I mean, controllable penalty. That's after the whistle. No need to do it. 15 valuable yards lost.
60 yards total penalized Edmonton's been. Frankie Hickson, the ball carrier, inside the 50 on that first down as they advanced it into Edmonton territory.
Now there's a bit of a win, but that penalty means that Cody Fajardo, who has lots of time here, converts this second down. He's probably 5 yards from field goal range at the very least, and he got a little bit to the lead. But plenty of time to just run the offense here.
Morrow back in. Hickson gained a yard or two. Fajardo resets. Three-man rush only. Off to Morrow with room. Keeps running. First down. Moore. A late flag coming out as Morrow heads out of bounds.
Yeah, I think this may go against the Riders. It looked like there was a couple of players, including Keon Schaefer-Baker, who came back towards his own line of scrimmage and made some hits after Morrow had gained first down. So we'll see how this is sorted out. Used to be called a crackback block,
right?
And they were legal at one point, but a few years back.
4 yards were gained. Illegal block, Saskatchewan, number 89. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
Can't come back towards your own line of scrimmage and catch a defender who wouldn't see you coming. It's to the left of your screen. It's like Scott Hutter is on his way over there, and there's Schaefer-Baker. He just glides with a couple. Fajardo knew it.
So they send them back 10 yards to make it a 2nd and 18. They'll scrimmage from their own 51. Under 2 minutes to go until halftime. And the Riders hanging on to a 1-point lead. Four-man rush with time. Deep left for Williams. He's got it. Duke Williams comes down with it.
Okay, Duke's back.
Ed Gainey was on him.
Duke's back.
Gain of 35 yards.
Got Ed Gainey, the veteran defensive back, shaking his head. Throw it up there, 50-50 ball. And Duke goes up and gets it. Doesn't necessarily high point it, but he jumps up to block out Gainey and then wins the fight on the way down to the ground with the football. Boy, we've seen some highlight reels tonight already.
Sure have, and here comes Saskatchewan now, out to Morrow. But no, great defensive play there by Niles Morgan, or excuse me, Enoch McConzo, the strong side linebacker, coming in to make that tackle after Morrow caught the ball.
Yeah, McConzo he took Jake Hardy and just flew to the football. It's to the right of your screen, and Hardy's trying to get over there to get the block on him, and he just beats him. He beats him to the tackle. Sometimes you got to take on the block and shed it, and sometimes you can just beat him to the spot.
The rookie from Montreal. Fajardo buys himself more time and does get rid of it, and is intended there for Duke Williams. Scott Hutter on the coverage, and once again a flag is down.
Yeah, I think that's what both head coaches are going to have to say at halftime to their teams. Again, especially with it's Chris Jones with the ones after the whistle. Tell the guys, look, you know, those 15 yards in a close game, one possession game, That's going to cost you the football game, and this is a desperate situation.
Holding Saskatchewan, number 51. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
Desperate situation, certainly for Edmonton, that just fighting to get back in the fight and in the playoff picture before they get to Labor Day. But Saskatchewan as well. Keon Schaefer-Baker knows better than to come back on a crackback block.
And that pushes them back on the hold by Natai Rogers, the right tackle, to the 38. 2nd and 24. Just 3 rushed again, but they're getting pressure. Seresna chasing him, and he does get rid of it. It's incomplete, intended for Schaefer-Baker down around the 30. So 3rd down coming up. A late field goal try here for Saskatchewan.
So we've seen a lot of this, Rod. This is just 1, 2, 3 for Edmonton. So Cody's got initial time, but those 3 are getting just enough pressure to flush him. And now it's making it difficult for him to throw on the run, especially when he's moving to his left like that, and find a guy. The scramble rules are going to come in play here for the receivers for Saskatchewan in the second half. Come back, find the opening.
This is a 46-yard try for Brett Lothar. He's got a leg, and he splits those uprights. No problem at all to restore the 4-point lead with under a minute to go until halftime, when we'll head to Kate and Milt and Ches and Maddie as well for their thoughts on this game, and a few hours to the south in the province of Alberta. And what a game that was. The BC Lions coming back and beating the Stampeders. So lots of football to talk about in this Saturday doubleheader at the half here in the CFL on TSN.
Who has better hands? Burnham, Lawler, Stiegel.
Yeah, and see, now he feels better about the question. So I'll go with Milt. How's that for a political answer?
Yeah. Well, he's not going to like my answer. Now, Milt had some breakaway speed. Now, don't get me wrong, but
Taylor Cornelius getting late, still in time, takes off. He can run across midfield too.
That's big. That's big. He can run, then get a chance to get back in field goal range and answer that field goal. Now, Chris Jones has been hinting, or maybe even telling Taylor Cornelius that you can run, make the decision quickly, and if you see an opening, go ahead and get 7 or 8 yards. In this case, it's way more than that, and puts him in field goal range. 23-yarder on a scramble up the middle.
3 carries for 34 yards, Cornelius. And the Elks aren't done yet in this half. Remember, they got down near the goal line and fumbled away what could have been a touchdown drive from midfield. With time, nearly intercepted, throwing in the direction of Darrell Walker. So that falls incomplete. It'll be second down, and yes, we got another melee after the play is done and flags come out. A lot of this in the first half, late flags.
You know, one of the things that some have said with regards to this stuff is you should have a guy that plays on the edge, or a guy or two that often or will cross the edge and go across the line. You need those edge guys.
There are 2 major fouls, misconduct against Edmonton 65, against Saskatchewan 91. They offset. It's second down.
You know, people have said, well, you know, to be a great team, you need a couple of guys that are willing to go across that line. I couldn't disagree with that more. You need hard, competitive players that are unselfish, that'll play together and play for the right reason, which is to win a championship and to do it for the guy beside you. And this idea that you need guys that are going to do stuff after the whistle to win, the defending Grey Cup champions don't do that.
Couldn't agree more. It's complete now. Kenny Lawler has it. So the penalties had canceled out, but still a half minute to go, and definitely Edmonton's in field goal range and perhaps looking for more here before halftime.
Yeah, look at Lawler. I mean, what a great half for him. I mean, push up the field, even that look. See that look at the end? He goes on that deep route on Milligan and looks up like he's going to look for the ball on the deep route. That's when he comes out of his break. Those little subtle indicators to the defensive back to throw him off the path.
31 on the clock. Ball at the Rider 26. Cornelius gets out of the pressure, takes off again. Another good run by Cornelius to the end zone, and a touchdown, Edmonton. Second touchdown of this game for Taylor Cornelius. What a play that was for the Elks QB.
Chris Jones is gonna not only suggest but demand that Taylor Cornelius takes off and runs with the football. He's got some speed now. A little top end speed here to get going. And then dive for the cone. Final 3 minutes.
We talked a lot before about the running of Cody Fajardo. We've seen that, but we'll be talking more as this goes along to the conversion. A flag is out about the running of 15 in the green and gold. Taylor Cornelius, 4 carries, 60 yards in this first half, and 2 touchdowns. One in a sneak, but that one not a sneak at all. Went a long way for him.
Looking right here at the cone. Stretch out. Got the ball on that outside arm. That's good technique as well in the open field. Make sure you keep it away from the defender. Nick Marshall, instead of pushing him out of bounds, was trying to play to the officials. I would suggest push him out of bounds first, and then if you want to chat with the official, you could. But
after the play, objectionable conduct, misconduct against Edmonton 65. This is a 10-yard penalty. Since it's his second penalty,
he's out.
He is disqualified from the rest of the game.
Wow.
Mark Cordy,
he's out.
The right guard, is out of this game. And that is after Edmonton scored a touchdown to take the lead late in the first half. Cordy's night is done. We've seen 2 stories for Edmonton, especially the progress on offense, the good things on the field, but overall the lack of discipline. They had a lot of penalties on defense, and that to an offensive player. So Steven Nielsen, the backup offensive lineman, is going to be getting into this game, and presumably at guard. We'll see how they shuffle the roster there on offensive line, but Cordy is done.
We have a whole half to play here, and Cordy has just put the team in a very difficult situation because, yeah, Steven Nielsen is here, but that's it. They only dress 6 offensive linemen, which means there would have to be a D lineman that would, if someone goes down now in the second half, early in that second half.
So bittersweet for the Elks right now. They have the lead. Impressive late drive, but they lose a starting offensive lineman for the rest of the game. Mario Alford on the return. He breaks free.
Got something.
Mario Alford still going. The half could end this way. You gotta be kidding. Touchdown, Saskatchewan.
When you're watching Canadian football, do not go and get a beverage in the final 3 minutes of the half or the final 3 minutes of the game. So much can happen. How about the patience from Mario Alford? Patient. It looked like it was going to be a short side return inside the numbers, and he takes it to the field. 97 yards, gets 1 block down there from Justice McInnes, and away he goes.
Something about the end of the first half. Remember the game in Toronto, or the game against Toronto a few weeks ago. Right at the end of the first half at Mosaic, on a missed field goal try by Boris Beatty. He returned that one back. So another return for a touchdown for Mario Alford.
Well, I just like the patience. It was almost as if he was letting 2 things. One, letting his blockers get the angles they needed, but that was looked to me designed to go to the short side. I mean, all the blocking was set up to the short side of the field, and that was just Mario Alford saying, you know what, I see a seam. I see a way to bounce to the wide side. McInnes escorts him in.
Momentum swings, back and forth they go to the Roughriders with 7 seconds to go until halftime. And another touchdown in green and white for number 2.
If you like theater, if you like drama.
And a lot of it today, a lot of it in this game.
We had a lot of it this year.
We've
had a lot of it this year. This week alone.
Nothing but.
In the last 45 seconds, 17 points have been scored.
Just craziness. So over to you, Edmonton now. What can you do in 7 seconds? Litre is back for the kick. And Corey Vedvik sends it towards Charles Nelson, who catches it at the Edmonton 25. Down he goes shy of the 40. 3 seconds still on the clock until halftime. So a lot for Kate, Maddie, and Milton Davis to talk about in this first half.
You know, the way it's going, I might take a shot here. I mean, I might just put Kenny Lawler and Darrell Walker into the boundary, have them all go route. Well, throw it up, maybe you get a penalty.
There's still 3 seconds. Why not?
Especially with Lawler, the way he's been catching the ball. Not sure if they're going to do it, but I might take that shot.
Nope. Handing off to Litre. Doesn't mean he has to go down easily, though. He gets it up near the 50 on the final play of a rather eventful first half.
Okay, now you can go get a beverage.
You never want to go too soon. My goodness. Saskatchewan comes back, takes the halftime lead by. Thank you, Kate. Strong work as always from you and the guys in the studio, filling a little bit extra time at halftime, set to go for the second half. And just moments ago, I spoke to Edmonton receiver Kenny Lawler. After an extended halftime break because of the threat of lightning, the Elks and the Roughriders set to resume again for the second half. Pleased to be joined by Edmonton's leading receiver in this game, Kenny Lawler. Kenny, first of all, you've been through a weather delay like this before against Calgary. How hard is it to ramp up again?
You know, it's a little challenging, but, you know, we was in there, we was focused, we stayed into it, we was walking around, stretching during the half. So, you know, we was in it. We're in this game, man, and we want to win this game more than anything. So we gonna bring it.
Well, you know, it's a 4-point Saskatchewan lead, so your team is trailing, but did you see some encouraging signs, especially on offense in that first half?
Definitely. You know, we was driving the field. You know, we was just shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, we had a lot of penalties. You know, we had that one turnover within the 5-yard line, but, you know, we just got to make the corrections, go out there, finish, and execute it. You know, we're gonna be running, we walking home with this dub.
Kenny Lawler, thank you for this.
Thank
Good
you,
luck
Rod.
in the second half.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And that second half beginning on a return from Charles Nelson. So Edmonton has the football, and it was a little bit longer ago. To refresh your memory, big kickoff return after an Edmonton touchdown for Saskatchewan and Mario Alford to give them the 4-point lead. So here we go. Good first half for Taylor Cornelius, especially running the ball. Gets that one to Darrell Walker, who gets up across the 40. So the second half underway, and Walker with his first catch of the night.
Well, you just heard from Kenny Lawler, and you saw the numbers. Targeted 5 times, 5 big catches. If they can get Darrell Walker going in this second half and they can work in tandem, really helps the Elks' cause here to get back in this and take the lead in this game. The other thing that jumps off the page for me is Taylor Cornelius running the ball. 4 carries for 60 yards. We just haven't seen that in his starts.
And he is a new right guard now. 61 Stephen Nielsen in because Mark Cordy was ejected late in the first half. Taken down, Anthony Lanier trips up on that 2nd and 5. Taylor Cornelius, so it'll be a punting situation to start off this second half for the Edmonton Elks.
Taking a page out of Chris Jones' defensive book and rushing 3. Lanier starts late, but does a sort of a shake and bake move around the edge there to catch Cornelius from behind.
Mario Alford, there he is. The big kick return of 98 yards for the touchdown late in the first half that has given Saskatchewan the lead again. Punting it away, John Ryan, the ex-Roughrider. Taken on the hop by Alfred. He's got a little bit going there. Boy, the explosion makes you think if he could break that, he could have a lot more in his resume for the night. As it stands, a good place for Cody Fajardo and the Riders to start the second half.
Yeah, he just needs a sliver, doesn't he? Yeah, here's Cody Fajardo, and again, talking about running quarterbacks, we know Cody can run, and the question was, would he get back to it because that knee has been bothering him? But Cody Fajardo 6 times carrying the ball 30 yards, or 29 yards, just shy of 30. And I think there's Milt Stiegel on the panel saying that when he gets to 30, they win. 14-1. Apparently.
He's aware of it as well. He talked about it earlier this week. Handing off left side, Jamal Morrow strung out. Konar's there. Some hard hitting from that defense of the Edmonton Elks too.
Well, this is what you want to do defensively against the run, especially a run that was successful in the first quarter. Jamal Morrow had a nice first quarter run of the ball, so get him going sideline to sideline, bouncing, bubbling, stretch him out until he runs out of room. Big hit at the end of that.
By Deron Carter, did a little bit of talking too afterwards to Jamal Morrow. 2nd and 13, Saskatchewan at their 40 with a 4-point lead starting the second half. Fajardo 6 for 10, 70 yards passing. They ran it more in the first half. The heat is coming in a 3-man rush again, and they've got it. Jake Seresna with his 2nd sack of the season. He had one last week at BC Place, and you talked about it, Glenn. They bring only 3, but they are getting some heat on Fajardo.
Yeah, it's you know, when you can do this, and spy a linebacker, in this case, it's Matthew Thomas. Well, Cody Fajardo gets caught from behind here, but there was also a linebacker tracking him down from the front side.
So Charles Nelson will take this, rated as 20 on the punt by Vedvik. Punt of 50 yards and a return of about 4 up to the 24 now. Jake Seresna. Big play defense for Edmonton. They are in this game. Saskatchewan leads it early second half. Edmonton football. A look at Craig Dickinson, head coach of Saskatchewan Roughriders. What the coaching challenge here when you got a team with an extended halftime, not expecting it because of the weather delay?
Well, it gives you a chance to actually go and self-scout and look at the tablet. You can take a look at some of the plays that worked and didn't work, and get a game plan for the second half. I think these delays for the players are tougher when the weather gets colder because you have to try and get loosened up again and warmed up.
The Edmonton Elks. Ante Milanovic-Litre had a busy first quarter, and then it was more Malik Irons in the second quarter, but back in the hands of number 34 on that first down and picking up about 5 yards for Edmonton.
But when you talk about delays like that, I mean, other than just keeping loose and making sure you're stretched out so you don't pull a muscle or injure yourself in the second half after a long delay, the timing can be off. It was, it was there with Cornelius and Lawler in the first half. See if they can get back and together again. It's more on offense than defense.
2nd and 5, Edmonton at their 29. Cornelius can't get away. Darnell Sankey in there to take him down and force Edmonton to punt it away again.
You know what he doesn't get enough credit for, Sankey, is his makeup speed. He's got like DB kind of makeup speed. Starts on the opposite side of the direction that Cornelius is going to roll out on, and he goes up the field as if on a pass rush, redirects and tracks him down from behind. And we saw Cornelius run in the first half. Some runs where he showed some pretty good speed. So Sankey closes that gap in a hurry, doesn't he?
And takes him down, and because of it, John Ryan, who was with the Roughriders until he got hurt late in the season last year, late October. That's when Vedvik became Saskatchewan's punter. And now a member of the team facing the Riders tonight, a 43-yard punt by John Ryan. Darnell Sankey stops Cornelius. Saskatchewan football, they lead by 4 in the third. Coverage of the Women's World Hockey Championship will begin August 25th with Team Canada's tournament debut up against Finland. That is live from Denmark. The Women's World Hockey Championship beginning on TSN. Back here in Edmonton, part 2 of the doubleheader to wrap up Week 10, and it's a good one here. A 4-point Saskatchewan lead. They have the ball just across their 50. Cody Fajardo taking the handoff off to Kean Schaefer-Baker. His second touch of the night. Schaefer-Baker, and a flag does come out as he heads out of bounds.
Legal block, Saskatchewan number 5. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay first down.
Flagging Duke Williams on the illegal block. Jason Moss, the offensive coordinator and former head coach here in Edmonton.
I believe that was another crackback block. Schaefer-Baker got caught in the first half, and I think Duke Williams again went back towards his own line of scrimmage. There he is right there, back towards his own line of scrimmage, and made a block. Considered a crackback block if you come back that way.
It is a 10-yard penalty. It is 1st and 20. Saskatchewan 42, wide open, but dropped by Justin McInnes, who puts his hands in his helmet in that oh my goodness look at one that could have been.
Yeah, because you know coaches will tell you, Rod, as you know, they'll say you're going to get hit whether you catch it or not. So you know, especially on that type of route. I mean, that's a deep dig route where he's going down the field, little outside release, and then back across the middle. So you go into the middle like that, you're going to get hit. You might as well hang on. He just took a peek down the field.
Instead, it is 2nd and 20 now. Roughriders. Fajardo looked over to Morrow, and then he takes off himself. Cody Fajardo needs to pick up 20. Does have a good pickup across midfield. Not enough for a first down, but certainly enough to give Vedvik a chance to pin the Elks a little deeper in their own zone now. Punter's coming on.
Well, maybe this is one of the answers to that 3-man pressure. I mean, there might be bigger run lanes for Cody Fajardo to take off, and maybe we see a bunch more. I mean, it's more than the last 3 games put together already, but maybe we see a lot more of that with that 3-man pressure package.
So here's Vedvik to punt after the Fajardo run, standing at his 43 with Nelson back at the Edmonton 10.
Trying to draw him offside.
And a chance to flip the field here. Nelson running over as it's heading out of bounds.
Oh, went back in.
And it rolled back into the end zone. Or was it out of bounds? No, it's still going here. This play. And back at the dead ball line now. That's Ed Gainey.
Take another look at that punt, and Charles Nelson, who lets it go thinking it's going out of bounds. So did we. Everyone thought so. I mean, it stayed in by an inch and bounces in the field of play. You see the pellets from the field bouncing up inside the white line, and they give up a single. Saskatchewan would definitely would rather have had the field position there.
Just a bizarre moment. Another point on the board for the Riders. They lead by 5 now. Into the hands of Litre again, up at the 40. Nowhere to go. No gain, Edmonton. Inches perhaps. Lanier in the middle there. Sankey 2.
Difference between 4 and 5. No difference. So they wanted inside the 10.
And by all accounts, that punt by Vedvik was perfect.
It was. I mean, it just by
an inch.
By a couple of those tiny pebbles. It stayed in and turned left.
They would have been still leading by 4 instead, but they would have had Edmonton deep in their own zone. Instead, getting to start at the 40, and it's a 2nd and 10 now. After no gain, Litre flushed out to the left. Cornelius can't find a receiver, so he takes off again, and Cornelius showing off his running ability on the night. He has a couple of rushing touchdowns, and he has a first down for the Elks.
Well, his head coach got through to him. At some point, that's going to happen, and especially when it's validated with some success, and that's exactly what Cornelius had in the first half. So now he's still running with his eyes downfield. He had some pursuit behind him, but he was out there wide enough. Lawler was trying to get his attention.
to the Edmonton 52. Elks have been able to move a lot with Cornelius running. They stick to the ground there, and a loss of yardage there. In on the tackle is Lanier on Litre.
So Taylor Cornelius has been holding out on us. He's been holding out. He's 6'5", 232 pounds, and he was saying everyone was talking about him as a pocket passer. He reminded even his head coach of Ricky Ray in his demeanor and his size, and he's kind of that tall guy from the pocket that could make every throw, but kind of was holding out, and all of a sudden we see he can run the ball effectively.
Longer run, 26 yards for that second touchdown that briefly had them in the lead in this game. 2nd and 14 after the loss yardage, setting up a screen for Litre, but that is too far under all that pressure for Cornelius. So instead they stall and they'll have to punt it away.
Yeah, but you know that play, that fraction of an inch on the kick. And I shouldn't speak too soon with Mario Alford. Yeah. Mario Alford back there getting ready to return this. But that just changes field position dramatically here. Even with just the one first down, you got to think Edmonton thinking that's a win for them.
Alford, lone man back for this punt by John Ryan. Shorter up around the 30 and no chance for a return by Alford. Out of bounds right around the 30. Back to Cody Fajardo with a 5-point lead. By that man, Jason Shivers, and some kind words about him from his old mentor, Chris Jones.
Shives is a good coach. I mean, he understands the players. He's a player's coach. He's extremely intelligent. He's well versed in what we've done over there for the past, not only in Sask but in Toronto, in Edmonton, and he took great notes, and he's done a real good job also of putting his stamp on what they're doing.
Yeah, together with the Argos, Glenn, in 2013, and then Chris Jones, when he first came to Edmonton, brought Shivers over, and then they were together in Saskatchewan too, and Jones left, but Shivers stayed and has done a great job with that defense.
Yeah, that defensive coaching tree probably started in a lot of ways with the late Don Matthews, then to Chris Jones, and then there's been offshoots. Jason Shivers certainly one of them, and a candidate for a head coaching job sooner rather than later, I would think.
In the backfield, taking the handoff is Kian Schaefer-Baker, who has a good carry too on that first down across the 40.
Yeah, you want the ball again when you've had a couple of mistakes, and there's been the penalty from Schaefer-Baker, the drop over the middle, and you just want to get it back in your hands. You could see the second effort and the determination there.
Gets it up to the Rider 44. The 5-point lead. Back on the ground, breaking a tackle and staying on his feet is Jamal Morrow. It doesn't get much, but at least it's not loss yardage. At first it looked like it would be.
Yeah, Morrow got off to a good start in the first quarter, and since then the Edmonton Elks have basically figured out the type of runs that he's been doing, and they've done a way better job in the second and third quarter containing him. But again, it doesn't have to be a running play to get it in Morrow's hands.
2nd and 9 right at the 45. 4-man rush. Flag comes out. Miles Brown, McConzo pursuing. A little talk on the sideline with Morrow there as well at the Edmonton bench. The flag came out earlier.
Saskatchewan, number 51. It's a 10-yard penalty. We'll replay 2nd down.
Second holding call on Ty Rogers in this game.
Craig Dickinson the last couple of weeks through this 3-game losing skid has talked about wanting improved play from both his tackles, Rogers and Vaughn.
Second and 19. Complete to Morrow from the 40, and that second and long, Adam Konar, good job wrapping up Morrow and forcing the Riders to punt it back.
Yeah, you know, when you give up a sack or you take a holding penalty on second down, you know, your chances of converting on 2nd and 10+ is just, it disappears on you. It plays right into the defense's hands, and you're kicking it away.
Vedvik again inside his 30. Nelson to take it at his 30. After a punt of 40 and a return here for Nelson as he found some space on the right side before he is taken down by A.J. Allen. So Taylor Cornelius coming back on now. A night of 8 for 12, 122, but the bigger story for number 15 there is what he's been able to do on the ground himself. 5 carries for 72 yards and 2 touchdowns, including a 26-yarder.
Defensively, the Riders up front have got to try to get back into that controlled rush lane sort of mode. I mean, you can't just cut loose and take off up the field, or else he's going to take off and run with it. Something he hasn't done, but is doing tonight very well.
First down, Cornelius.
There you go.
Ran out of time. Keon Adams is there.
Yep.
A committee to Marcus Christmas too, as they sack Cornelius.
See, control, a little bit more controlled. Stay in your pass rush lanes. That was just 4-man pressure, but they didn't give him any chance to escape there, because the ends are just going to collapse it down. That's Charleston Hughes to the right side of your screen, and they just collapse it down. Don't give him a run lane. Stay in your pass rush lanes and plug it up. That was adjustment made by the D-line in that last break when Cody had the football.
Third sack for Saskatchewan in this night. Cornelius on a 2nd and long. Eludes the rush, dumps it off, gets it to Manny Arsenault. His first catch, and Manny doing some work after the catch to see if he can get to that first down marker.
Well, I'll tell you what, he made it interesting. We'll see what the spot is, because he was short by 8 to 10 when he caught it. This looked like almost that play where you say, well, we'll just limit the damage, punt it, and keep the field position advantage. But Manny Arsenault had other ideas. He's saying, oh, wait a minute, I can just grind my way to this marker. And they're short enough that they can go for it. That was 7 tough yards from the Manny show.
Working it close enough. Kyle Loxley is in at quarterback in this short yardage play for Edmonton to extend the drive. And a big 3rd and 1. They meet him. He jumps up and they met him too. This will be very close.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Darnell Sankey in the mix. Loxley thinks he has enough. See where they spot the ball. They didn't need much.
This is Adam Bighill timing over the top in short yardage. Did he get enough? They're signaling first down, and must have got it on second effort, because the timing on that jump over the middle from Sankey was bang on, and Lawler helps out.
Wow. Just enough. Where they spotted it is a first down, so the Elks drive does continue. Up near their 49, down by 5, late 3rd quarter. High snap and the handoff to Malik Irons, and doesn't get much on that first down, just across the 50. So another 2nd and long is coming up here with 20 seconds to go until 3/4 time.
Adam Bighill, one of the best in the business on short yardage on that timing. We saw that a bunch this week, the Montreal game. Congratulations to the Alouettes for that big win, and Winnipeg now at 9-1. But
a lot of drama down near the Bomber goal line with the Alouettes offense.
Yep.
2nd and 9 now. Final play, 3rd quarter. With time, Cornelius over the middle, complete. Wide open is Manny Arsenault. Has another one. So his catches coming in bunches now, and that wakes up the Edmonton offense too to start the 4th quarter in business in the Saskatchewan zone. The veteran Emmanuel Arsenault enjoying being back in the Canadian Football League. That last one A 28-yarder from Taylor Cornelius. Edmonton down 5, but it's Saskatchewan's zone to start the fourth. The third quarter stats, only 1 point scored. That was by Saskatchewan in that third quarter. But you look at these numbers, Glenn, continues to stand out how many yards on the ground Edmonton has picked up tonight.
Yeah, 138 yards is almost double their rushing average. They were last in the league coming in, running the football as a team. But Taylor Cornelius has surprised us all with 72 rushing yards of his own. And that's the difference tonight. I mean, Taylor Cornelius taking off and breaking down the defense with his legs is a big difference.
Well, we saw Edmonton late in that first half, the offense start to open it up through the air, and we saw a little sign of that too. Just late in the third quarter on the move. A couple of passes to Manny Arsenault, a big one there to get him in business.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, for the Riders, I mean, offensively, they just can't put themselves in those situations where they take penalties, especially on second down, and put themselves in second and more than 10 yards. Almost impossible.
Here we go. Final 15. Edmonton football and a 1st and 10 at the Rider 32. That's Malik Irons. And Saskatchewan's defense stays strong there on Irons, picking up a couple of yards, but still a 2nd and long again for the Elks.
Just notice that Amari Henderson got up. He's a halfback on the wide side of the field. He got up limping pretty badly after that. I'm not sure if he just tripped or something happened on the backside of the play. And I don't know if Taylor Cornelius noticed that, but if he did, maybe put Kenny Lawler right over number 16.
There's Henderson. His first year at a Wake Forest. 2nd and 7. Oh, the heat is on again, and down goes Cornelius. 4th team sack. And they did it by committee there as well for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Yeah, they get Larry Dean up on the line of scrimmage. They get Darnell Sankey up on the line of scrimmage. Basically looking at Moncrief to flow back in the back end, and this time filled all the rush lanes with a blitz. I think Mike Edom ended up being part of it as well from the safety spot. Larry Dean's going to line up in the line and then bail out. Here comes Edom around the corner. He gets involved in that sack as well.
And so Sergio Castillo, who's 1 for 1, he hit one from 38 yards earlier. This try will be from 44 to narrow Saskatchewan's lead to 2. Money. Castillo, 2 for 2.
I've been waiting for you to do something.
Do something, boy. You must not know my name.
I've never pushed myself this far in my life, and it's paying off, man. Let me tell you.
Hey, we're about to get this back and go get a touchdown. Get it through your heads. Hey, get it through your heads. We're about to go down and score, all right?
Catch wired Wednesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Glenn, Matty and I were joking last night because right after we ran the promo, Matthew Schultz he led a couple of touchdown drives in that Hamilton victory last night.
Yeah, good for him. That's a big win for Hamilton. You know, and all of a sudden, everyone said the Western crossover was going to be automatic. But still probable, but certainly not automatic all of a sudden with Montreal wins and Hamilton win.
And they face each other in Montreal coming up in week 11. Fajardo with time. Deep ball to the line, intercepted. The Feast Lion with the ball, and a big return for Edmonton. All the way down to the Saskatchewan 30.
Cody Fajardo is second guessing. He walked off the field shaking his head because this had no chance. I mean, that throw is to the wide side of the field, and those have to be on time. And that ball has to be out of his hands an hour before that throw to Kean Schaefer-Baker. I mean the actual execution of the throw didn't even give it a chance, but either Schaefer-Baker went way too deep on his route there, or the timing off so badly. Easy interception.
So here come the Elks. Cornelius under pressure again. He gets away for a moment, but nowhere to go. Couldn't find a receiver. It is Sankey that does take him down close to around the line of scrimmage. The Feast Line with his first interception of the season. in this year 2 for him. And he had a 30-yard return afterwards as well. So big plays by defensive players all over the place right now.
Sankey got that tackle, and yeah, Lyon with the nice interception. I mean, kind of threw it right to him, but sometimes you make the great play on an interception. Sometimes you get the freebies. That was a freebie.
Freebie, but a good return though. Afterwards.
For sure.
So you second down now, and they tried to set up a draw. Nothing doing there. Keon Adams, Mike Adam in there on
fans don't like the call, Rob, but I don't mind the call on a draw when you've got a quarterback that's been running as well as Cornelius tonight. You're hoping that the D-line will get way up the field and try and take him. And what they do here is try to get them up the field, bait it up the field, but they're not fooled. They actually ran the draw right into a stunt.
So this is not a replay. This was just moments ago. We're live now for another kick try from Sergio Castillo. Goes 3 for 3. Flag comes out late, however. That one was from 41 yards away. That was on a 3rd down and long, by the way, about 12 yards.
So I've got an idea to try and eliminate this kind of stuff after the whistle. If there's supplemental discipline and a player is fined for it, the coach...
Procedure. Edmonton had no end on the right side. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 3rd down.
Okay, that's just a normal penalty. But if it is an after the pushing or shoving or all that stuff,
which we've seen of a lot tonight,
player gets supplemental discipline and gets a fine. The coach should get one, and the organization as well.
Might reduce it.
Let's see how quickly it changes after that.
I'm going to say if you do involve others, but this penalty, the procedure to push Castillo further back, so it'll be about a 46-yard attempt for Castillo. Is a 52-yarder during this season. To stay perfect on the night. Pushed him back, but no difference. Castillo gives the Edmonton Elks the lead. Points off the turnover, so critical. 4th quarter. This guy's made quite a difference to the Edmonton defense. He missed a good chunk of the season on the 6-game injured list. Jake Seresna forced the fumble there in the first half. And he also has had a couple of sacks. He's been a nightmare for Cody Fajardo. In this game, Seresna had 2 games against the BC Lions this season. That's it. So this is his first home game, and making himself at home in the Rider backfield. And now Edmonton has the 1-point lead. And Jamal Morrow on the carry.
Yeah, and sometimes it's been, a lot of the times it's been just with 3-man pressure, keeping Cody Fajardo uncomfortable in the pocket, not being able to throw on time. That late deep out throw intercepted easily by Nafis Lyon. But yeah, they really needed to get Jake Seresna back into that lineup, just like the Riders need to get Pete Robertson and AC Leonard back in their lineup defensively.
The Edmonton Elks haven't won at home in over 1,000 days. They had a chance in week 2 against Saskatchewan, led with less than 5 minutes to go. They lead by a point now, over the middle, and it's dropped by Tevin Jones. So 3rd down, and after the consecutive field goals by Castillo, Saskatchewan is going to have to punt the football away again.
Well, dropped, but didn't matter. The Elks were all over that little curl route over the middle, and they were bringing him down whether or not he caught it or not. I mean, that was well short of a 1st down.
So Vedvik again, Edmonton getting the ball back with a 1-point lead. Nelson at his 30 and taken down after about 4 yards on the return. Edmonton, Manny Arsenault waking up here in the 2nd half. Can they put together enough to get their first win at home since 2019?
When you're desperate for a win, and the Elks are desperate for a win to get back in the playoff hunt, you need your leaders to be leaders by example. How about Manny Arsenault fighting for 7 yards and getting a first down there just before the end of the third quarter? 24-yarder over the middle. Lead by what you do, not necessarily by what you say.
It's helped the Elks come back and take the lead. They go on the ground on that first down, starting at their 34, a pickup of about a yard for Malik Irons, one of the newcomers, and what's been an ever-changing roster for this Edmonton team as they fight injuries and also trying to find the right combination to get on the winning side. So a 2nd and 9 coming up. Next week, Edmonton, Friday night, is in Ottawa. Start a back-to-back against the Red Blacks. This is the halfway point for their season. Game 9 for both of these teams. Cornelius gets away from the heat again. How many times have we seen this tonight? The stiff arms Nick Marshall as he heads out of bounds.
Well, it works because of a cut block by Levi Noel, who's in the backfield and helping Cornelius here, because Darnell Sankey's going to come off the edge and he gets cut down there. And because he had contained, now Cornelius has his escape route.
Up near the 49. Cornelius out of bounds there, but back in on a first down after his yardage. What a night on the ground. 7 carries, 86 yards, 2 touchdowns. Back to Irons. Nothing doing. Sankey gets pulled a couple of yards by Irons. So a short gain. It'll be 2nd and long again facing Edmonton. Quickly in this 4th quarter, we're getting down to the halfway point as the clock is getting chewed up by the Elks as well. 2nd and 7 coming up.
That's the 10th tackle of the night for Darnell Sankey. He and Larry Dean neck and neck for the lead in that department.
Second down. Settles in the pocket. Throws a deep ball. Wants Kenny Lawler. The coverage there by Roland Milligan. Incomplete.
That's well played by Milligan. You know why? Because Roland Milligan here, Kenny Lawler was trying to draw a PI call out of him. He was going down the sideline, and I don't think he really thought he had a shot at it. I mean, it ended up that he may have, but he's down the rail to the right, and as he gets down there, he knows that Milligan is in such good position. Now he's going to try and draw a penalty by reaching and kind of flopping over top of him. Seemed lots of receivers try and do that, but Milligan stayed disciplined, did not grab, played the ball.
So Mario Alford standing back just outside his 10 for the punt by John Ryan. Saskatchewan to get the ball back. Trailing by a point in this game now into the hands of Alford after a 48-yard punt. He cuts back to the left. He's taken down nicely by Thomas Costigan, who's starting defensive end on special teams there. Alford is so dangerous. Costigan made sure the danger ended right there on that play. Saskatchewan ball deep in their zone. Riders trail by 1. It's been a rough night for their offense. 186 net yards. That's it. Cody Fajardo 7 of 14 for 75 yards. Throwing here on first down and completing it. And then
yeah, that'll be a penalty.
That'll be a penalty there as Justin McInnes was flipped down Matthew Thomas after that catch.
Yeah, that'll be unnecessary. He knows. He knows. You know, it's just a little overzealous there.
Unnecessary roughness, major foul. Edmonton, number 19. It's a 15-yard penalty from the end of the play and a first down.
Yeah, he knows.
Come back to it, though, in the first half. We talked about this. One thing that's really been helping the Rider offense out, a lot of penalties on defense by Edmonton tonight.
That timing throw, though, was snap, plant, throw. More of that, I think, Rider fans are looking for.
11th penalty for 105 yards against the Elks. faking the handoff.
The shot.
Deep ball goes for Duke Williams, and Nafis Lyon broke it up. He had the pick earlier in the quarter. And just as big a play there as Duke Williams was behind him.
Yeah, it was a play action and then throw it down the middle. And in this play, he has him. He has Duke Williams in behind Lyon. And again, that ball just sort of low trajectory coming towards Duke Williams rather than throwing it up and trying to drop it in a bucket. I think if he does that, you see the separation. It's about 1.5 yards, but because it's on a line, Lyon gets a chance to get his left hand in there.
Breaks it up. And a 2nd and 10. .6:05 on the clock. Back in week 2, the Elks had a 1-point lead over the Riders with just under 5 minutes to go before 11 straight points by Fajardo and Saskatchewan to win it. From the 34. Complete to midfield. Great throw, great catch by Kean Schaefer-Baker, who took the hit afterwards and hung on to the ball.
Wow, this is Cody Fajardo's best throw of the night, right here. I mean, Keon Schaefer-Baker is running a nice dig route over the middle. It takes a little bit of time to develop, but this throw is precise, down the line, right on the hash mark. Takes a hit, but you're going to get hit either way.
Enoch McConzo, the one hitting him. So first down, midfield, on the ground. And a couple of yards again for Saskatchewan. And yeah, Schaefer-Baker bearing the brunt of that one. He gets a little attention on the sideline.
He's trying to regroup, but again, that throw from Fajardo, his best of the night and one he can build on for this 2nd down right here.
A 2nd and long after a couple of yards gain. Morrow there beside Fajardo. Stays in to pass protect as Fajardo just gets it away. Intercepted. A flag is out. Nafis Lyon with his 2nd pick, if it stands.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a late PI call. Full blitz coming from Chris Jones' defense this time. No 3-man pressure. He waited till 4:30 in the game or just beyond it to send the house. Fajardo feels it. He knows he can't block them all.
Pass interference. Edmonton, number 37. It's a spot foul. Makes it a 1st down for Saskatchewan.
Well, first of all, Chris Jones decides he's sending the house. I mean, he's going with everybody up on the line of scrimmage. No 3-man pressure. Cody Fajardo sees it. He understands it. He's got to get rid of it. So he's chucking and ducking. And then at the other end, there's your pass interference by Deron Carter.
So in first down from the Edmonton 24, a look into the end zone. Touchdown, Duke Williams. Lyon was there, ran past, and with Williams taking a seat, he takes another one now. Time for a snack after a score. And the Riders back in the lead.
Okay.
He took a seat to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Then he takes a seat there.
Got on the lawn chair with some nachos, I believe it was. And that seemed to be a heavily Rider Nation section here at Commonwealth Stadium in the end zone down there. Throw behind, so designed to throw to the back shoulder.
Duke Williams is known for his celebrations here in Edmonton. Remember when he played here? And an interesting one crawling through the signage. 6 plays, 97 yards in under 3 minutes. And the Riders have the lead again, and they're going for 2 to make it a 7-point lead. No. He had Tevin Jones wide open, but it went too high, too far, and so it remains at 5. Saskatchewan ahead under 4 minutes now in the 4th quarter.
This is just outstanding. Outstanding route running on the touchdown from Duke Williams to bend it in here and then hit that fade route on the throw behind, go back to that touchdown here. Watch how he's going to go up the field. It'll stem inside, and that just sells the route. Inside turn to where Lyon has to do a speed turn to get back and try and catch up, and then it's the throw behind. So when you get a DB trying to recover, he's putting it in full gear to get down there to recover. The throw behind is perfect for that kind of situation.
Timeout.
Look at all the Rider fans down the end zone.
You find Rider fans anywhere. Certainly do here in Edmonton. And I talked about the pattern so far repeating itself. Not over yet, of course, but in week 2, when it was in the last few minutes, Fajardo hit Mitch Picton in the end zone, and they got the 2-point convert to take the lead, and they never looked back. We'll see what happens here. They missed that 2-pointer, but this big touchdown to Duke Williams has given them the lead again.
When you bite on a move like that as a DB, now you're just grinding to get back. You're just flat out running as fast as you can to catch up. And then the throw behind, and he flew right by. So Duke Williams gives the Riders the lead. The 2-pointer just missed by Fajardo. I mean, wide open. Tevin Jones, but Fajardo overthrew it.
And that was a 97-yard drive, and talk about it again. Nearly half of that yardage, 43 yards, came on penalties against Edmonton's defense. So Saskatchewan makes them pay. It's a 5-point Rider lead. 3:53 on the clock here at Commonwealth. What do the Elks have in store? Charles Nelson going nowhere on that return. Albert Awachi's in to make sure he goes no further.
All right, well, here we go. Taylor Cornelius almost as many rush yards as passing yards.
The Edmonton Elks have lost 11 straight games at home. They haven't won here since 2019. They've lost 6 straight to the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They haven't beat them since 2018. That was here 4 years ago. Some droughts for the green and gold. 5 points down, 3.5 on the clock. Cornelius quickly out, and not far enough for Kenny Lawler. 2nd down.
There's your offensive coordinator for the Elks, Stephen McAdoo. He's worked with Chris Jones in Saskatchewan and needs something big here on 2nd and 10. But still, we're not even inside of 3 minutes. Remember the last 3 minutes of the first half? 17 points scored in 45 seconds.
It's kind of when the game begins, isn't it? Now the game starts. We're down around 3 minutes here. Cornelius, 2nd down. Oh, intercepted. Roland Milligan has it. Big pick, Riders inside the 30, and finally takes a tumble down at the 20. And inside 3 minutes, as the 3-minute warning comes. And we joke about how much time that is, but if the Riders can make it a 2-score game, come a lot closer to putting it away. Cornelius, it's such a good night, but would want this one back into the hands of Roland Milligan. Saskatchewan ball. The Elks, they were flirting with ending this long drought, 1,036 days since their last home win. That was in October of 2019. They did have the lead, narrow as it was, but for Chris Jones, his old team, the Riders, came back and took the lead, and now the interception threatening to add to it. 5 points right now, under 3 minutes to go. Cody Fajardo handing off.
Let's go back to the pick, Rod, because you know, Manny Arsenault was trying to run the correct scramble rule, and Cornelius just put the ball in the wrong spot. I mean, he gets outside. Now, once he's outside and scrambling, stop it there. See this up at the top of your screen, the scramble rule for a curl route is to go deep. The deeper one comes back. That's the scramble rule. Cornelius thought that Manny Arsenault was going to go into the middle and come back, and he turns to go deep, and it lands right in the hands of Roland Milligan.
Frankie Hickson had a 3-yard carry. Hickson and Morrow are off. It's Kean Schaefer-Baker taking that pass inside the 20, down to the 15, whistle blowing, and shy of the first down.
Yeah, I think that's 2 or 3 yards shy, which would, you can't mess around here. It's got to be field goal time for the Riders, making an 8-point game.
Would still be, though, a 1-score game.
Absolutely.
And,
one possession and lots of time. 17 points in 45 seconds. Okay, I won't say it anymore, but that's exactly what happened in the final few minutes in the first half.
2:08 in the clock, and based on what we've seen, yeah, point well taken. The Elks would have to move quickly, and in a couple of their drives they have driven the field very fast.
No, but this is huge for Edmonton. I mean, that stop gives them a chance. It gives them hope. Get this game into OT, possibly.
First, the short field goal try by Lothar. Flag coming out.
Flies.
See that flag go up high?
If it's against Edmonton.
It sure would be. That ball went through, and Chris Jones shaking his head too.
Well, that's automatic. That's a first down. Well, take the first down.
We have pyramiding. Edmonton, number 19, will go up half the distance, and it makes its first down for Saskatchewan.
Well, that's even more, because now you're inside the 10. Pyramiding basically means that you cannot, as a player, use your own teammate or the opponent to launch yourself higher in the air. So whether that's jumping on their back and jumping up, it's on this side, I believe, but let's take a look.
Like Matthew Thomas with his hands down and jumping over. We had a pyramiding call last night in Hamilton as well.
Yeah, and there's been about 3 of them now, I think, all this week that have been called, and some question as to what really is the definition of pyramiding, because when you run through between, you're allowed to put your hands on the opponent. You just can't launch yourself up in the air to try and block it.
We saw that one look with Thomas, and the one we were disputing, the one last night called in Cameron Kelly.
I was
could
with
have
you.
made a big difference in that game.
I was with you watching a real good football game. Again, down to the wire.
First and goal after that penalty. Jamal Morrow trying to work it down to the 5. So you see the penalty total. 13 for 140 yards. Really hurting Edmonton's chances of breaking this press.
Yeah, this puts more pressure on their defense. Obviously, they got to make the stop again. And this is the play to do that. However, the damage on the penalty, even if they can do that, is right there on the play clock. Because it was 2:10 when they were going to get the ball, and if the field goal was made, which it was, and an 8-point deficit, but still just one possession.
Second and goal at the Edmonton 5, Saskatchewan.
A lot of movement there, looked like, from the Riders' O-line.
Before the snap, timeout, Saskatchewan.
That one came, they saw the same thing. A lot of movement going on. Looked like it may have been a penalty, so they burn a timeout there to make sure they get this right. Crucial down here, because even if they get it, still could be time if Edmonton can get the stop.
Timer, please reset the clock to 1 minute 40 seconds, please. 1:40.
Ben Major asking for 3 more seconds to go back on the clock. To the timeout, Saskatchewan, a second and goal. And trying to, with due respect to the amount of time left, and things can happen, big step towards putting this away if they can make it a 2-score game. Get into the end zone. Elks D trying to prevent that. Keep it a one-score game. Fajardo in second down. Calls his number. Cody Fajardo. Touchdown Riders. Ball came out after he'd crossed the plane. Saskatchewan touchdown. And just a minute and a half left.
Well, a controversial, I'll call it that, pyramiding call. Again, just a huge call in this game down to the wire when it looked like it was going to become an 8-point game. A one-possession game with over 2 minutes for Taylor Cornelius and the Edmonton offense, and now it's 2 possessions.
And you saw the ball come out, but clearly he had carried it across the plane, broke the plane for the touchdown. Fajardo, and makes it 34, possibly 35 here, Brett Lawther. He missed it. So no, Lawther doesn't get that. It remains still a 2-score game, though, at 9 points, 34-23. That's the second miss on a 1-point conversion try for Brett Lawther here in 2022.
Go back to the touchdown on the quarterback draw, and that's exactly what the design of the play. That wasn't him scrambling. That was Cody Fajardo on a called play. Now he crossed the plane of the goal line before the ball was knocked out of his hands. The touchdown is there. He's about a yard in when it gets punched out.
After the play, objectionable conduct, misconduct foul, Saskatchewan number 51. The 10-yard penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
It's the second time tonight we've seen an offensive lineman ejected right after their team scores a touchdown. It happened to Mark Cordy of Edmonton in the first half. The Ty Rogers getting his second misconduct penalty, or getting a misconduct penalty, I should say. So Charles Nelson, Edmonton, dreaming of ending the streak, but it looks a lot more daunting now.
This shit leave me back in the game. Let's go!
Nelson at the 40. It's up to the 48.
Let's go back to this pyramiding call. I'm sure Edmonton fans would like to see it one more time. It's right here, I believe, is the guilty party, and he jumps through a gap in the line, and on the way through pushes past the 2 Saskatchewan blockers. It's Matthew Thomas, and I just don't see that as pyramiding.
Unless they're saying he's using his hands, pushing down in order to get up higher, but I agree with you.
That was just basically touching them as he went by, and he jumped through that gap. So again, I know the Rider fans will take it, and we saw it in your game
last night.
Yeah. But, you know, I would suggest that the league office is probably going to be sending memos to every team to make sure they're clear on that it doesn't take much to be called for pyramid. I mean, that, you know, the purpose of the rule is to not have a guy bend over and then you step on his back and you jump 3 times as high as you normally could jump, and I didn't see that from Thomas.
Sankey had the heat on as Cornelius got it away for Litre, calling it an incomplete pass.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
Charleston Hughes looking to get that 136th. Was close there. As this game winds down now.
3rd down and 10. 1:16 in the clock. Edmonton needs 2 scores. Cornelius. Shorter route, the fall's incomplete. That was Darrell Walker, the intended receiver. So no, a turnover on downs, and that'll do it for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Say this about penalties too. Some of these ones that are, I'll call them head scratchers a little bit, but there's a lot of junk that needs to be cleaned up by the coaches and their players. We talked about that tonight, and if you want to be a championship team, you got to eliminate that stuff. Yeah. And these 2 coaches are both got to do that. But these pyramiding calls and some of this stuff that I hope as part of the memo that the officials will also understand that it has to be egregious. Like, you have to see a penalty to pull your flag out and change the outcome of a game. Because when you pull your flag, you're doing that. I mean, you have to look back at it and say, oh, yeah, oh, clearly that was.
And neither of those cases, last night especially, and even this one tonight, looked egregious.
I just don't. I've been involved with this league for a long, long time, and I've seen guys shoot through the gap on field goals like that, and I don't know how that can be a penalty. And if it is under the standard right now, my question would be, really? Like, now, the 140, 60 yards of penalties tonight, I think that's just for one team.
Yeah, that is both in the hundreds. 13 for 140 for Edmonton, 9 for 100 for Saskatchewan. So that's 22 for 240 yards if you combine these 2 teams.
I mean, and that's on the teams, and that's on the coaches that are coaching the team.
Please reset the clock to 1 minute and 2 seconds.
So
1 minute, 2 seconds.
I'm by no means, blaming the officials for a lot of penalties in a game, because a bunch of them were avoidable. I would say at least half. A couple of guys got thrown out of this game. That stuff's got to end if you want to win. I mean, I get the emotion. I mean, you've been down there between the stripes. You get fired up, and sometimes you lose your head, and sometimes you make a bad decision. Well, man, in this, as tight as it's been, one possession almost every game we watch now, you can't mess around like that. It's too important.
2nd down and 10. Back in the hands of Morrow.
But when an official throws his flag, we go back and look at it, or the teams go back and look at it, it should be 100% certain that was a penalty deserving of a flag being thrown. And if it's not, if it's close, if it's questionable, if the guy goes, well, by technically it sort of is, no, do not throw your flag. Let the players determine the outcome of the play at that point.
Well, in the case of those pyramiding calls, both were initially field goals that turned into touchdowns, so a 4-point difference in each of them.
And changed the game.
And could have. Hamilton ended up winning. They did come back and win, but certainly eliminated any chance for Edmonton here, making it a 2-score game.
And Edmonton wasn't necessarily going to drive it and get a 2-point convert either, right? So,
oh my God.
Nelson bobbled it, and it goes out of bounds with Jones chasing him. 28 seconds on the clock. So, bottom line for Saskatchewan, it's an important win for the Roughriders to get to 5-4. And they got Nathan Rourke and those BC Lions with their dramatic victory over the Stampeders earlier today. They've got them next week. Second time they'll play them at Mosaic. And the Elks, well, falling to 2-7 at the halfway point of the season, and they have back-to-back games coming up against the Ottawa Redblacks. 2 teams desperate for victories, of course, and that'll start things off in Friday Night Football from TD Place in Ottawa. So that's the doubleheader.
Yeah, and the Ticats Alouettes, I mean, they're playing against each other, and one of those teams are going to win that game, and then now you're just a game behind that 4th place team in the West. So it's a lot of football to be played. We're not even at Labor Day yet.
Not even there. These teams just hitting the halfway point of the regular season since this is game 9. Said the Riders to go to 5-4 and the Elks to fall to 2-7. And for Taylor Cornelius, the night he had, I mean, the passing stats, 10 for 20, 163, no touchdowns, 1 pick. On the ground, he ran a lot and scored a couple of touchdowns and made an impression certainly with his legs as Nick Marshall throws down Kenny Lawler. So here's how things look in the standings in that imbalance East and West, of course, very clear. The West Division, Winnipeg losing to Montreal. First loss 9-1. BC 2 games in hand. Same in the loss column with the Lions at 7-1, and then Calgary and Saskatchewan.
Lions could still catch Winnipeg, who started 9-0. And you think about that, there's 5 wins now for Calgary, 5 wins for Saskatchewan, and just behind them, Montreal, Hamilton. So you're looking at that side of the division as well. So, but a big win to stop a 3-game losing skid for Saskatchewan. They needed that.
The Roughriders do. They end the losing skid at 3, as you talked about. But for the Edmonton Elks, that losing streak at home continues, well over 1,000 days and counting. Chris Jones in Edmonton, Craig Dickinson in Saskatchewan. They hit the halfway point, and for the second time this season, the Riders beat the Elks here at Commonwealth with a halftime that was delayed by lightning. Duke Williams touchdown. Riders win. SportsCenter is next. Thanks for watching the CFL on TSN.